And our guest this time is Comrade Nelson Ekujumi, Executive Director at Center for Social and Economic Rights. And very good morning to you.
Good morning to you. Good morning to you.
So we're going to another area of yours because also it's all about the security. I'm talking now about the EFCC and the appointment by the president of a new chairman following the resignation of the previous one, even though he was in suspension. Talking about Tinubu appointing Olukoyede as the new EFCC chair. This, as was announced by the spokesperson for the president in Gilale, Ajuri Ngilale, was in furtherance of the president's agenda, reformist agenda, to complement other things that have been going. Your general comments, because well, for the first time, I think he's come out of not what we had thought that you had to have been in service, in a uniformed service. He's never been in a uniformed service, has he?
No, absolutely not. But he's not in violation of the
at all
of the EFCC Act, Section 2, subsection 3, which states that the EFCC chairman shall be, somebody who is a serving or retired, officer of the security agencies or law enforcement agency. Having served in the EFCC, which is a law enforcement agency, for between 2016 till 2020.
As chief of staff?
First as chief of staff between 2016 to 2018, then as secretary to the commission between 2018 and 2020. That means within that period, he has acquired the status of somebody who has served in a law enforcement agency. Don't forget, I think
people are also adding his consultative capacity before then, that look, nobody said that all of such experience had to be
in the service.
In the service.
Yes, absolutely. No. The law is clear that you must have 15 years work experience. The law did not say either in the public or private service. And this is a man who is coming into the saddle with a 22 years, experience working in the private sector, in the corporate governance, world, as well as in the public service. So if you look at it from all parameters, this is a man who has cut his teeth within the, anti-corruption circle, and that is why he's eminently qualified to be at the saddle. And then whatever anybody has to say with regards to this nominee is within their rights.
Yes.
But, the law is very clear.
But this is a man thoroughly familiar with the operations of EFCC. Thoroughly familiar.
Absolutely.
Talking of which, Christopher in Wari has called in. Good morning to you, Christopher. Christopher in Wari, good morning. Christopher, is there a delay? Can you hear me?
Good morning, Okuyori.
Good morning, sir. Go ahead quickly, please.
Yes. First of all, I want to thank the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Tinubu, for appointing the new EFCC chairman. I think the most important thing here is this. We Nigerians, we are too fond of trying to check document of every person. See, what school does he attend? Where did he do this? I think the most important thing is the capacity of this man to deliver on his appointment. All the while, the successive government has been appointing either Commissioner of Police, AIG, to chair that office. Now, we have a different narrative now, which I think every Nigerian should have been clapping for. Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. But it's a man that said, I think, what to do and how to do it better. So what I expect even the opposition to do right now is to really sit down and check what this man can offer. Because as you see it, if you are going to appoint a retired police officer to chair that office, what do you think of it? Because if some of the colleagues happen to be in that mess, that fellow will be tired. So for me, I think Asiwaju should be clapping for now.
It dwindled out, but thank you very much, Christopher, for calling in. Christopher generally approves, and the president, as it were, stepping out of the conventional, if you want to call it, line. What do you think about that, Nelson?
Well, it's not a new phenomenon with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. You recollect when he appointed the National Security Advisor. If you look at our history,
yes,
it has always been retired military officers. He had to, change the game and appointed a retired police officer. And now we have seen that,
leaning on his experience, it seems.
Absolutely, yes, that
this
person is eminently qualified to do this job. And one thing you cannot run away from that is that in this administration, we have seen Ashwaju turn the game that in such a way that when we are all looking in one direction, he pulls, the magic from another box entirely. And what do I mean by this? Everybody was like, oh, will he be a retired military man? Will he be a retired security officer? He has brought in somebody
that is neither.
That is neither, but within the
thoroughly knowledgeable,
within the purview of the acts. That we must not run away from that, no matter where he has brought it.
Because I've heard online the point that people who think otherwise might be inadvertently importing into the law that which was never in.
Absolutely, yes. I've even had the privilege of being on a media station this morning.
Okay.
And the presenter kept on hammering that Mr. President has. I said, read the act again.
Exactly.
The act is there. Said 15. He said the act said experience in the military or security. I said no. I went to school, and unfortunately for us, this is a period in which it's like a lot of our people didn't do comprehension in school. Maybe we have problem comprehending simple language.
They miss that.
Because the Nigerian Constitution is written in simple English for anybody to decipher, to assimilate. So the law is very clear that this person for this office must be either is serving or retired, must be of the rank, not below the rank of an ACP.
That's right.
Assistant Commissioner of Police. And as the Secretary of EFCC while he was in office, the position he occupied, the status of that rank is the status of a DIG
in the police.
Because in the police. So if these candidates, these appointees, subject to the
and you draw that inference from the fact that that is the rank that is the head of admin in
the Nigerian Police Force. Yes, that's the DIG. So if you look at this candidate, this nominee by Mr. President, you know that within the purview of the EFCC Act, is eminently qualified, to be appointed.
Christopher brought up a point that because of the, I don't want to, because of the nature of the appointment, the surprise element of the appointment, and Christopher also linked it to, look, he doesn't have colleagues like that in the military or in the police, and this is a man who is a consummate professional in anti-crime and security and this kind of a thing.
War.
Yes. So he can, it's like Christopher was almost implying that not to impute others with baggage, but this man, has little baggage, very little, if any baggage at all.
Well, I don't know of any baggage except if we import one. So for this kind
as I said, that is not to put that other people had baggage, but because they were coming from certain formations.
Yes.
Guys would say they would have had by this.
But we must also recognize the fact that when you come into a public office, or any office for that matter, you are bound by your oath. And that oath does not allow you to say, oh, this one is my friend.
Okay.
Once the law is broken, the law must take its course. And this person we are talking about is somebody who has cut his teeth even in the private world. And he has also made his mark in the public sector, serving in the EFCC within these few years. And if, looking at the EFCC Act, this candidate meets the requirements of the law, then we don't have any issue than, to applaud Mr. President's appointment, subject to the confirmation by the Senate.
It wasn't the only appointment that the President made.
Yeah, he made the appointment of the Secretary of the Commission
the
as
Secretary
well.
of the
Yes,
Commission
absolutely.
as well.
Absolutely.
That one is to run for that appointment
is a 5 year tenure.
Is a 5-year tenure,
yeah.
Upon ratification by the Senate.
By the Senate.
But in the case of the chairman, it's a 4-year tenure.
Absolutely. We must not run away from the fact that we operate a constitutional democracy. Whether as a government, whether as a citizen, every conduct of ours must be guided by law. And whenever we find issues with conduct, whether government or individuals, our responsibility is to take it up, legally. So if anybody has any issue with this appointee, I would expect that such interest of person, the appointee is going to face the Senate, and the Senate is not controlled by Mr. President. The Senate is an arm entirely different on its own, and that Senate has people of diverse professional calling. So you must be rest assured that before Mr. President makes this appointment, he must have dotted his I's and crossed his T's, that this candidate, having gone through all necessary checks, is eminently qualified, he has fulfilled the provisions of the law, and he's going to present him before the Senate.
And his appointment was enabled by the fact that the former executive chair of EFCC had resigned while he was on suspension for an unspecified crime of corruption.
That's another matter entirely.
That's a totally different setup. But there was, having resigned, there was a vacancy. It was vacant.
The office and the law allows, based on the fact that there's a vacancy, the law permits Mr. President, that it gives him that authority to make that announcement. Had it been the former chairman was just on suspension and had not resigned, then we can be asking questions. But in this case, the man has resigned, and when somebody has resigned from an office, it means he's no longer there. That office
and a vacancy has been created.
Yes, absolutely.
Which must be filled.
Absolutely, because the agenda of government must run 24/7. There's no time to delay.
And all of this is in furtherance of the president's program of sort of a new
idea to fight corruption. Yes, absolutely.
Reformation and all of that.
And this candidate, Mr. Olukoyede, is an intelligence expert. So that tells you clearly that the fight against corruption under his leadership, based on his antecedent, will be more technologically
and it's
driven.
Going to assume another dimension.
Yes.
All of which. Know that we'll have more time to talk about this, especially as we get to also know the gentleman, Ola Olukoyede, new EFCC chair designate appointment by the president. He has to face the Senate. We'll see how all of that goes. But I
wish him the best of luck.
We wish him the best, because that's the one thing that we do need, is to clean up a lot of things that have been sort of very, very difficult in the past.
Absolutely.
So because of that, it's particular germane that you wish him luck. Thank you very much, Nelson.
It could be my turn tomorrow.
There you go. So that's our program. Please join us on Monday for a fresh edition. We don't do Saturdays and Sundays. I am Iyori Folani. Do have a great weekend. Bye-bye for now.